It's February 9th, and we are sitting here at the Dotoji CEO, ready to take on our fourth podcast. Very exciting week up here, actually. We've been at a marketing conference this week here in Dallas. Obviously doing a lot of work there and expanding like crazy. So we are actually very excited about some of the things that we've done this week. And we'd also like to make the announcement that we have created a partnership with Yelp, which is one of the largest local business directories in the United States and globally. So we are very excited about that, and we're one of the first companies in the state of Texas to have that partnership. So we welcome Yelp aboard the Dotoji ship and look forward to a great future with Yelp. Today, we're going to be talking about tips and tricks that Google doesn't want you to know about AdWords. So I think one thing that people may not know is that Google does $100 million a day on Google AdWords. $100 million a day. So that's an estimate of how much Google makes off of Google's AdWord advertising platform. So in order for so many businesses, to be paying for so many clicks, AdWords has to be making a lot of those businesses even more than they're paying. So Google, I like to say, Google is a advertising company with a lot of hobbies. They obviously, have a lot of projects going, but a lot of those projects aren't really making them much money, if any money at all. A majority of the money that Google makes comes off of their search engine advertising platform, which is AdWords. So here's the reality. Many AdWords advertisers are still paying Google more than they should be, and in many cases, a lot more than they should be. And Google profits off of those losses. Some win and some lose at AdWords, and Google always is going to take their cut. So there are tips and tricks to solving those losses. If you're a small business and you're suffering losses off of Google AdWords, obviously listen to our tips and tricks here, and maybe you can fix it yourself. And if you can't, certainly give us a call, and we'd love to help you with your advertising needs, especially your AdWords needs. We do a lot of audits of AdWords accounts here at Dotoji, and we always do to obviously give advertisers a second opinion on their account and give them recommendations on how to improve things. And having been behind the scenes of a bunch of AdWords accounts, I'm pretty confident in saying that even if they're making money with AdWords, most advertisers are still blowing way more money than they should on clicks that have no chance of turning a profit. Or just as bad, leaving a lot of money on the table because of poorly set up and or managed AdWords campaigns. So in this podcast, I'm going to share with you guys 7 common and not so common mistakes that AdWords advertisers make, so you can avoid making them in your AdWords campaigns. So the first is putting search and display in the same campaign. So for those new to AdWords, I'm going to give you guys a quick lesson here. There's basically 2 networks you can run your campaigns on. One, a search network. So this is where your ads can show up on google.com and other search engines that partner with Google. Obviously, Google has search engines that partner with them when someone does a keyword search. And 2, in their display network. And this is where your ads can show up on thousands of potential websites in the Google display network that display Google ads on them. So if you've ever been to a website and you see a graphical banner ad, that would be the display network. And those people actually utilize the Google AdSense platform, which pays website owners to display Google ads. And believe me, it's pennies on the dollar. So search and display are very different animals. The way you select keywords is different. The way you write ads is different. And the way you set bids is different. Yet, I still see campaigns that combine the two. So now Google's changed the game recently. they've started to offer what they call search with display select. If you're a new advertiser, this is the only option you have, truly, if you want to run ads on both networks. But if you've been running a campaign targeting search and display, you're essentially grandfathered in if you don't want to upgrade to that new feature, though Google obviously is encouraging advertisers to make the switch. Either way, my recommendation still is to keep search and display separate. The search with display select supposedly uses improved signals and methods of predicting when and where your ads are likely to perform best, and sets a higher bar for when to show them. Which, that sounds good and all, but search and display are still separate animals and belong in different cages. So if you're running campaigns targeting both, break each out into their own campaigns. So you definitely want to separate the two. The second tip I'd like to throw out would be relying solely on broads, and that's broad matches, by the way. Match types are a big deal in Google search campaigns. So the match types of your keywords determine what search terms your ads are eligible to appear for. So there are 4 main match types in Google, and I'm going to cover those right now. So one is an exact match. This is where your keyword has to match the search query. So, exactly to the search query. So if your keyword's underwater bowling, the only time your ad can appear is when someone types in underwater bowling verbatim into Google search. 2 is a phrase match. This is where your keyword has to appear in the same order it's typed in the search query in order for your ad to appear. So if underwater bowling is a phrase match in your campaign, you could match for search queries like the best underwater bowling locations or underwater bowling in Miami. However, if someone types in underwater pin bowling or bowling underwater, your ads could not be displayed because the words underwater and bowling are not next to each other in the same order. So they still have to appear in the same order, but it doesn't have to be in an exact match. So that's what a phrase match is. A broad match, is where Google has a lot of latitude to determine what search queries are relevant to your keyword. So, but if Google's idea of relevant and your idea of relevant may be quite different. So your ads may potentially appear for terms like bowling alley, underwater photography, or water sports. If the keyword underwater bowling is set to broad match in your campaigns. That's broad match is quite different from phrase match and exact match. And then you have broad match modifiers. This is the kind of like a hybrid between broad and phrase match. So with broad match modifiers, you're going to tell Google that each word in your keyword has to be in the search query in order for your ad to appear. So it doesn't matter what order, in other words. So your ad could appear for the search term bowling underwater by using broad match modifier. So here's what Google pretty much has set as their 4 types of matches. So you have 4 match types, and it's a big deal. So a lot of advertisers add a bunch of broad match keywords to their campaign, and that's it. And that is a total fail. I cannot tell you how big of a fail that is. First, your ads are going to show up for a lot of irrelevant searches, which means you'll be blowing a budget on clicks that have no shot of getting you any business. Second, because you've never quite known what search terms are going to match with your broad match keywords, it's difficult to write ads that are laser targeted to the words your prospects are typing into Google. And the more relevant your ads are to the keywords, generally the more people will click on them and the better your quality score will be. So quality score before we go any further, so you know what that is. A quality score is the algorithm that Google uses to determine where your ads rank and how much you pay per click. stay away from broad match. I mean, of course, unless of course you're more advanced and want to run some broad match keywords as a test to see if you can mine the search query data to find good keywords for future campaigns or ones that you can add to current campaigns. But let me give you a little pro tip here. Most campaigns we set up use a combination of exact match and broad match modifier keywords. You could do worse than following that strategy. Most of our successful campaigns utilize the two match types, and we really don't mess with the others. I mean, obviously you can play around with them. It is your money. But keep in mind, back to the first thing I said, Google makes $100 million a day off of advertising, and a lot of that money they make is off of people's losses. Number 3, my third tip is not weeding out the bad placements. So this is for those of you who are running or planning to run display network campaigns. Depending on your niche, the display network has the potential to drive a lot more traffic and conversions than a search campaign. And there are a number of different ways to target people on the display network as well. And those ways are topic targeting, interest targeting, and contextual targeting, which contextual targeting is basically keyword targeting. So let's use topic targeting as an example. Okay, with topic targeting, you can run ads on web pages that are related to the topic categories and or subcategories you select. So you have over 1,700 to choose from. So let's go over an example again. So let's say you're selling a product about lead generation strategies, and it's targeted to small business owners. So one of the topic categories you choose is marketing. Well, here's the rub. The web pages Google shows your ads on, because they deem them related to the topic of marketing, may have nothing whatsoever to do with marketing, at least by most people's definition of the word. So, context is everything. So, as an example, we were running a campaign one time that was targeting the marketing subcategory, and notice that one of the web pages that our ads were running on was a live webcam of a chicken coop in the Boston area. Seriously. And what that has to do with marketing, I have no idea. But that web page certainly wasn't relevant to what our client was offering. Which brings us to the point, when you run display campaigns, you have to be very vigilant and look at what web pages your ads are appearing on. And it's very easy to spend a lot of money showing your ads on web pages that your ads have no business running on. So how do you avoid this? That's the question. How do we avoid from putting our ads on pages or targeting people that have no future as a client of our company or of your company? And how do we stay away from that loss? Well, by using a placement report. This shows you the web pages your ads have been running on, along with data on impressions, clicks, conversions, and etc. The placement report is going to give you all the data you need to obviously modify your advertising campaigns as they run to get rid of those places. So you go into your display campaigns on a regular basis, look at the placements your ads have been appearing on, and exclude the junk. It's that simple. So you have the ability to have any placement that you want, basically. So just because you have a campaign that's been humming along for a while, don't think you can skip doing that. You're going to have junk data and junk placements that you need to get rid of in your AdWords campaigns. So, recently we had obviously I can't show you a graphic here, but we have a graphic of impressions in our AdWords campaign. So our campaign had averaged about 5,000 impressions per day for months. And then, in the course of a few days, with no changes made on our part, traffic spiked to over 100,000 impressions per day. And this was due largely to one website our ads started showing on. So the site was only slightly related to the service being offered, but led to no conversions despite the big uptick in traffic. So we blocked it. You've got to be careful on the display network, because unless you have things set up